Okay, so it is a beautiful day outside, and I hate cooking inside when it's a beautiful day outside. So we're going to cook over the fire tonight. This is the way that I set my fire up. So I'm keeping paper, just old pieces of paper, maybe book manuals or whatever the case may be. It's not,
it should be shredded.
Yeah, it's not going in a landfill. If it's got sensitive information, or if it's where I had to download my cell phone booklet, it's going in the fire. And then I put few sticks on top, and then I use dryer lint. Dryer lint is very easy to catch on fire most of the time. Watch it not be tonight. There are lots of different ways to start a fire. I try not to use any matches or lighters or things like that. I like to use things like these. This is just what my son and I call a little Sparky. We used this a lot when he was in the Scouts and we were camping all the time. You just push your thumb down on it and it throws a spark. If you can do that and get it onto the lint, then it catches pretty easy. This is my other one that I use quite regularly, you can tell. And then this one, this throws a spark like this. Watch it not do it tonight. There we go. Oh, and there it started. Once you get the hit just right on that lint, it just catches really quickly. And all of your old papers, instead of going to a landfill or somewhere, they're going to get burned up in this pit. There, it's catching. All right, we're just, I was letting the Dutch oven warm up. This is a Lodge number 12. You don't have to use this. I think maybe a 10 would be okay, but I like to have a lot of room to make sure, because if you go over, then your stuff's just going to pour out. So what's the point? We are making a vegetable chicken soup, and I'm just going to melt. That's probably a half a stick of butter, which may be too much, but it's some that I had left over from corn on the cob the other day. There's a piece of machinery. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but we live in the country, so there's a piece of farm machinery somewhere down the road that's making a lot of noise. We're going to melt this up. Yeah, let's move it over this way just a little bit, let it cool down. Usually, I do this hanging on a tripod out. I used to have a fire pit on the other side of the yard, but I took it down, and my husband bought me this. Yeah, your large truck is parked there now. Melt this butter up. It don't take long. This pan is hot. We're going to put a half to a whole onion diced up in there. We're just going to let that saute for a little bit. If you want to use any kind of carrot that doesn't come out of a can, then you can cut some up and add that at this point, or celery if you like celery. To me, it's just a filler. So we're not going to use that. But carrots, I'm just going to dump a can in here after a while. So I'm just sauteing these onions because I like the flavor of onions, but I don't like the texture. So we are sauteing the onions, cooking them down quite a bit, because I don't like the crunchy of the onion. I know that sounds weird, but it is what it is.
That
Hope doesn't even like the onions, but she eats them.
Okay, but if I can see it, it's coming out.
She eats them.
It's a mental thing.
Yes. Okay, we have cooked down the onions the way that I like them. I know you probably don't like them that way, but I'm eating this. And we're going to add some garlic. This is 4 cloves of fresh minced garlic. We're going to put that in there for about 30 seconds or so till you can smell it real good. Love the smell of garlic. Oh, that smells good. Yeah. Now, as a funny, I'm cheating tonight, and I'm using chunk chicken breast. Well, I usually don't. I usually cook the chicken and tear it apart, shred it, and it's really good because real chicken is just better. But I had a little problem this morning in my chicken coop. I went down to feed all of my critters, my goats and my chickens, and I stopped to check for eggs. And I don't have to go in the coop to check for eggs, thank goodness, because I probably would have had to come apart. But the way that my husband built the chicken coop, the nesting boxes are kind of hanging on the outside. And all I have to do is raise a lid and look down in there and get my eggs. I don't have to go inside, which is wonderful. So we live in the South, so we have a lot of snakes, and I don't do snakes. I'm scared to death of snakes. I will plow you down to get away from a snake. I'm not lying.
It's true.
It's true. I've done it. I've done it. And so I ease up the lid.
I'm sorry. Rehome them.
Yes. I ease up the lid on the nesting boxes, and I kind of peek down in there, and I'm looking for a little no-neck thing in the nesting box. And that way I don't get surprised. You know, I don't just open it up and stick my hand down in there without looking. But this morning, I opened up one set of nesting boxes, and there's this hairy critter in my nesting box. And I know it's not a chicken because chickens don't have hair, they got feathers. So I ease it back down, and I come back up to the house, and I get my son. And
I was not here. This is the first I'm hearing this story.
I saved this for now, so she's not heard it. And we go down there with a hoe, and he has a walking stick that he chiseled the end on, so it's pointed. He brings that with him, and I tell him, you know, there's this hairy critter in my chicken coop, and I don't know what it is, but I have a dead chicken. It killed one of my chickens. Sad. That was
Another one?
Another one.
The
another
dogs
one.
got most of
it. Yeah, another one. But I didn't know what it was. That was the scary thing. I didn't know what kind of critter was in my chicken coop. So he raises up the lid, and he's 6'4". He's a lot taller than I am. And he can see, and he says, "Oh, it's still there. Get it. What are you going to do with it?" I said, "I don't know. I can't see it." So, I'm not 6'4".
What are you now, like 5'8"?
I'm probably 5'8" now. I'm shrinking. I'm going downhill, but it's okay. So anyway, we were trying to figure out what this critter was, and it wouldn't move. It just had hair. We knew it wasn't a chicken. So I opened the coop door, and he's flapping the lid on the nesting boxes, trying to scare it to get it to move and come out so it'll go away. And that doesn't work. So we keep moving the nesting box lid, and eventually it raises its little head up, and it looks at us like, "Why are you disturbing my slumber?" It's a possum. There's a possum in my chicken coop.
Is that the one we saw in the yard the other night?
I don't know, but I don't know what to do with it, right? So I'm like, how do I get this possum? out of my chicken coop.
Get in there.
So I don't know how, that was Robert's question. How did it get in there? And the answer is I don't know. It must have been strong enough to lift the lid to get in there, because there's no holes. I don't know. They climb trees.
It would have took some effort. You would have had to get in the one side.
It would have taken some effort. And
or dug a hole.
I dug a hole. I didn't look for a hole. I didn't think about that.
Because we boarded up all the bottom, like a foot up on the bottom, because the dogs,
yes.
They got to taste the chickens and continued to want to taste chickens.
Yep. So anyway, I'm like, I don't know how to get this possum out, and I don't want to, I don't want to, you know, definitely not try to touch it in any way, because I've always heard that, you know, they can carry rabies and we don't need rabies. So my son finally talks me into setting a trap and putting some eggs inside the trap, because obviously possums like eggs. And so that's what I did. And that was early this morning, and I've only been down there once to kind of ease the door open and look, and the eggs were still in the trap. So I'm assuming that the possum is still in the nesting box.
Because now how's it going to get out?
I don't know, but I do have
a harder than getting in.
I do have a trap door, so I shut the trap door so the chickens cannot get back up into the coop with the possum. Obviously, the possum is stronger than the chickens, because it harmed one to the point that it is not breathing anymore. So,
are they herbivores, carnivores? Let us know in the comments, because I have no idea.
They like chicken, and they like eggs.
Or it's just vengeful. I don't know.
So that is why I'm using the chicken breast, because after that fiasco this morning, I forgot to set the chicken out so I could cook it for the soup. So 2 cans. This is Kirkland brand. It is 12.5 ounces per can, so I'm using 2 cans. Yes, we love Costco. And then we're going to put a can of tomato sauce in there.
From the Kroger.
Well, you know, we are
came from the ruler.
We are an equal opportunity shopper. And Italian style diced tomatoes. Again, with the texture thing, I don't like tomatoes unless they're like in Rotel or something like that, where they're diced up real little, but there's a lot of flavor in there. So we just pour that in there, and then when it comes time to eat it, we just pick out the tomatoes. This is, I'm going to put 3 potatoes in there, chopped up into about 1-inch chunks.
Now we do eat those.
Yes, we love potatoes. And this is Italian seasoning. I'm going to put in, I don't know, roughly a teaspoon or so. We're just going to sprinkle that in there like that. Well, we're just going to add a little more because that flew away. There we go. And then this is chicken soup base. And I use this because this is just wonderful stuff. L.B. Jameson's chicken flavored soup base. You can use chicken stock that you've made on your own. I just don't have any right now. That's homemade. You can use chicken stock out of a can or a cardboard box, however they come. You can use whatever. I just like this because it's a good soup base. We're going to pour this in here too. This is 6 cups. What is it, Lucas?
I like that shirt.
You're hungry. Hey, we've been there. North Pole. We had a good time, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We went to Santa Claus' house.
But we didn't see him.
We didn't get to see him. He was on a break, wasn't he?
We didn't see the reindeer either. They were fixing their fence and repainting.
Now I'm gonna put the top on this Dutch oven, and we're just gonna let this soup simmer for a little while until the potatoes get tender, which depending on the fire, maybe 30-45 minutes. We got a good boil going on right there. So right now we're going to add in a can of whole kernel corn.
I want super boost.
And just pour it in there.
I want super boost.
Okay, buddy. A can of sliced carrots. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's getting dark out here. And a can of cut green beans. Just pour all that in there. We're also going to be adding some oregano, some Lowry seasoned salt, some cayenne pepper, and a little bit of Old Bay.
Okay.
I start with maybe, I don't know, maybe a quarter teaspoon. I don't really measure a whole lot of stuff. About that much. We're just going to pour it in there. That was the oregano. Lowry seasoned salt. But this is all just to taste, okay? You just, if you want more, put more in there. If you want less, put less in there. It's just up to you. This is the cayenne pepper. I just like a little bite to my stuff. That was probably about 1/8 of a teaspoon. We'll go from there. And then the Old Bay. I like Old Bay. It's just a good all-around seasoning. And we'll start with about 1/2 teaspoon. And get my spoon. We'll mix this up real good. I'm sorry, I know it's getting dark out here. And we'll let that get back to boiling. So it finally got done. Here's the finished product. It's still steaming. It looks so good. All right, guys. We're going to sit down and we're going to eat this soup. And we'll see you next time.